Gotta stay hydrated. So hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Glow Journal. Today I want to talk a little bit about university and about giving you tips for studying, about giving you tips for just being a university student, because September is usually where most semesters begin and most people start universities. I also started 2 days ago, and that's why I'm like super busy and I'm just like, my head is everywhere, because I'm not sure if you're also like this, but I set so many things to do in September, or like I set up so many goals that I'm gonna accomplish this year, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna do this internship, I'm gonna do that, and then the new semester just rolls around and I'm like, I don't have time to even like take care of myself, like cook lunch, do stuff, clean, and I don't even know when I'm gonna sleep, and there are so many assignments and so many readings to do, and then I'm like, okay, you know what, I take everything back, let me just focus on university. And this is something that happens every single year, because every single year I'm like, I'm gonna just be the best version of myself. September, let's go. And then I'm like, hoodie is like my thing in September, just hoodies and a computer and sitting down and studying, and it's crazy. But it can be even crazier, especially when you're a new student. Like, I'm already in my third year in bachelor's. I should probably kind of like give you a background about who I am and why you should listen to me and why my advice might be good to you. Hello, my name is Michaela and I'm a third year bachelor student studying business. Yes, finance bros. Yes, business. I chose international business because I was not really sure what I want to study. And international business for me, like, I don't want anybody to get offended if you're like really into business, if you're really into this. But for me, international business was like a really easy way out. Like, I had no idea what to study, and I felt like international business covers so many different topics that I chose it, and I could like further then broaden myself into one of these topics that we studied. Like, for example, I went into it like thinking, okay, maybe I'm gonna like finances, maybe I'm gonna like banking, maybe I'm gonna like economics. And I came out of this and I absolutely fell in love with marketing, and that's what I want to pursue in my master's degree. I know it might be a little confusing now because American school systems are very different from European. I go to school in Europe, so I know mostly about how it works over here. I know America has its own specifics, so no sororities today. I'm not going to be talking about those things, but I can give you a lot of tips about studying, because I'm a perfectionist at heart. Let me just start with that. I'm a perfectionist, and I came to university and I said, okay, I'm gonna slow down, I'm gonna like take it easy, I'm gonna just really study the things that I'm interested in. And then university happened and my perfectionist self was like, but I can't go to the exam unprepared. I will just postpone the exam rather than go and not be prepared. For the past like 4 semesters, I had really good grades. I am a straight A student. I know that a lot of people don't really value straight A students, but I see you. If you're out there and you're a straight A student, I see you, I support you, I'm proud of you. Genuinely, because I feel like nowadays being a straight A student is really like, okay, and who are you trying to, like, what are you trying to prove, and why you're studying so hard, and you're sitting in the first row, and it's like, yeah, I am. And that's nothing, it's nothing to be ashamed of. I feel like being a straight A student is something really like underwhelming nowadays. It's like, okay, and what? Good grades in many universities, mine included, means scholarship, which is super helpful. Oh my god, the sun is coming out. I might actually like look good in this video. Now, I do have my handy dandy MacBook right here, so I have written out quite a lot of tips, because I feel like university is a big part of our lives, but it's not just about studying. Mostly is going to lectures, mostly is having readings and then submitting it, getting a grade. But I think university is like a big part of our lives. It's where we make our friends. It's where we make friends, I think, for the last time. Because in our jobs, we're gonna make friends, or we can make friends in other parts of our life. But university, I feel like, is the last time where you're gonna have like the same classes together. Unless you enroll in another university or like another course, you're not gonna really have this experience with people again, which, oh my god, now I'm getting anxious. Like, oh my god, I should go and make more friends. Making friends in university, I think, is really important, but it's not something that you should rush. First of all, I want to talk about how to make friends, or like how to do your first year so that you are yourself happy. One first thing I think a lot of universities have when you come to university and you come the first week is orientation week, or you can call it the freshers week, or you can call it whatever kind of week you have at your university, where you get either like basic information about the faculties, about the university, about the history, you get a tour, or there's a lot of activities organized for the new students. Like, at least we have that a lot in my university, where there's a lot of activities for the new students where you have the chance to meet each other. In my first year, I only came to registration. I only came to register myself. I picked up my ID card and I left. I did not come to the university until we had our first day of school, which to this day I regret so much, because I had no idea how come all of these people I've met on a random Monday, they already know each other, and they are from all across the world, because I study a program where you can come from all across the world. They've never met each other and they already know their names, they already know each other. Like, how come? And I realized that all of these students, they have attended the orientation week and they did the games there and they met there, and I was the only one who basically didn't come. So if you have any kind of party for the freshmen, if you have any kind of like university fair, the freshers week, just go to it. Go, dress up, have fun. You might feel anxious because you don't know anybody in the university, and I get this a lot, but you will see that this is like, everybody going there is anxious. Everybody going there does not know anybody. They might know like one or two people, but they're not there in a really good big group of friends. I can guarantee you most people who are in groups, they've met that day. Like, we organized the orientation week, I think like a week ago. Well, I didn't organize it, I was just helping there, but I saw a lot of people were like complaining that, oh, there's a lot of groups of students that already know each other, like I can't really meet anybody. And it's not really about the people knowing each other, it's mostly like those people never met each other as well. They just met today, but for example, they have the same language, they have the same nationality, so they automatically group together. I have a friend, for example, she, for example, made a Taylor Swift society in her university, and she keeps meeting people through the society. So if you have like a common interest, maybe look up the student clubs. Just go to every event. I can guarantee you most people know each other from the events, or they know the other students or other teachers and other years from events. Events. I can't stress this enough. Just go to events, because I didn't, and now I regret it so much. And last year I just spent every single day just going to an event. If there was an event, I'm going there. I'm just trying. The second point I want to stress out is it's okay to be lost. It's okay to be slow. It's okay to not really understand how university works. Like, when I came to the university, everybody was talking about credits and vouchers and ECTS, which is the European credit system. I had no idea what it means. Okay, I came to the university. We had a whole information system that I had to learn how to use. I came to university. There was suddenly a lot of times when you come to university, there's suddenly this shift where in high school or like in other grammar schools, sometimes you'll be just told what to do, and in university it's very freeing on one side, where you can choose a lot of times your schedule, or you can somehow customize it. You can choose your electives. You go into this world where suddenly they treat you as adults, and you are basically the same person you were yesterday when you were at high school. It took me half a year to grasp what it really means to have credits, what it really means to have a final, how do I register for a final, like what can I do? I was like so lost, and it was a huge campus, so many people suddenly, like I had so many professors, I could not remember anybody's name, and it's okay. I, for example, organized an event for are like freshmen this year in my faculty. Like, I probably looked like I knew what I was doing. The event was basically supposed to help them like guide the university, and I probably looked like I have every idea in the world. I know everything. I'm so sure of myself. I was shaking before the presentation. Like, my hand was like, because it was 80 people who I was just telling something they probably never heard before, and they are supposed to trust me that it's correct, you know? So I was very, 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 very nervous, and I might have not seen like that, but I also don't know. Like, to this day sometimes I have to ask. To this day sometimes I have to Google. It's okay to ask. It's okay to Google. It's okay to find a buddy who's gonna tell you everything. Nobody knows everything. Like, even teachers sometimes don't know how the information system works. It's okay to get lost. And just don't get overwhelmed. Now we're going to a section which I'm so excited about, which is studying. From a self-proclaimed SWAT, from somebody who cannot really go to sleep unless I'm like, okay, I've studied as much as I can, I've read every single book. It kind of becomes addicting because you get your first A's, and then you get your second A's, and then third, and then you're like, oh well, I'm so close to getting a diploma. I'm gonna Google if it's the same thing in America, but here, if you get like straight A's, you can get a diploma, which like, it's kind of like, you know, this addiction where I'm like, okay, but I'm so close to getting the red diploma, so why wouldn't I, you know, try and get it if I can? If it doesn't work out, well, I'll cry, but like, it's not gonna be the worst thing in the world. So it's very addicting, and studying so much, especially because my courses sometimes require me to study like 50, 60 word pages. It's like of little text. It's hard to keep organized, but that's my number one tip, is organization. If I were to like not pay attention or not have notes or the lecture slides early on in the semester, I would be lost. Like, I don't study every single week. I'm not this kind of person. I know people can do this, but I can't just like sit down and study every single week, because I forget stuff. I forget stuff really easily. Even the things I'm really interested in, I will forget like as soon as I learn them sometimes. Like, I can't forget stuff long term. I have a really good short term memory, but long term I have to really refresh stuff a lot. So I'm not really able to study every single week. But what I do every single week, however, is organize my stuff. I have this lecture slide. I have this like notes that I've written. So I will put it together. I will organize it. I will write down the name of the lecture. I will write down the date of the lecture. I will organize it into a folder, and I will put it there. I will not look at it. I will not look at it until the midterms or until the finals or we have a group project, but I will definitely organize it. My biggest problem and my biggest pet peeve is when I don't organize something for a week, or if I do to-do lists so much. Another thing which I really recommend, like, so this might sound a little crazy, but every single day I create a new to-do list, and I either move stuff from the previous day or just add new things, and it helps me a lot because I need to visualize a lot of things. I have photographic memory, so I do need to visualize my goals and my assignments for the day a lot. There is a few apps that I do recommend. For the notes, I use my Mac. I just use my computer to do my notes mostly, because I can't really carry out like 20 different notebooks, so I just use a computer where I use a notebook app. For my MacBook, this is gonna sound really strange maybe, but I just use the Notes app. Like, I know a lot of people use their Notes app as like, you know, baby names and songs, but no, my Notes app are notes. I have them nicely organized. You can organize them into folders. I have it organized by semester. I have it organized by the lecture. I have it organized by literally sometimes a date. So it's so organized. It's very nice. I like my Notes app. Or if I'm doing something a little bit more complicated, like I had my economics notes, I use the Google Drive. Like, I don't know, maybe Google Drive is a little bit underrated. I don't know, maybe it's just here, but I use Google Drive for almost anything. Like, I have so many folders in my Google Drive. Folders is my number one tip for anybody. I love putting stuff into folders. So I will just put stuff into folder and in another folder into another folder until I have the little document that I can't really folder anymore because it's like one thing. So you should just sometimes see my folders. It's like a folder on a folder and a folder, and you will like until you get to the thing. This is something some of you who have photographic memory might also do, but during finals I need to rewrite my notes. So I either study by like repeating the notes out loud, so I will learn something and I repeat it, learn something and repeat it, or I will literally write the notes down, which might sound crazy, but it's just how I study. If you have a photographic memory, you might study the same way, but this is basically what really helps me. And so far, I have never really forgotten anything on the tests, so I think it works. Another organizational app which I love, which I feel like I need Google to sponsor me, it's just Google Calendar. I know a lot of people will give you like apps like Notion. I've tried, but I feel like this same amount of time you spend on programming Notion to look, cute and have all of these little add-ons and plugins, that amount of time could have been put into either studying or doing something a little bit more productive. I tried doing it, but it took me like 3 hours to just set up like a basic template, and I was like, well, okay, that's really cute, but if I'm gonna like spend 2 hours just putting my notes into a place, I could have already been studying. A lot of people will recommend you things that like look good and might work for you, but for some people I think it's just a waste of time, because honestly, if I were to like take 2 or 3 hours just organizing my things, right now I will just write something and I put it in a little folder and that's it. It takes 5 minutes maybe. And now if I were to like do this whole Notion and like put my goals there and like click through them and stuff, I don't know. I maybe may have to give a try to Notion again. Honestly, if you like Notion, keep using it. I just feel like if you're like me and you really need your stuff organized, you don't really need Notion. You can use all of the apps that I mentioned before. And when it comes to the actual study during the finals period, I'm just thinking of what I look like. Okay, I don't look really nice. One thing I really recommend is for you to organize. So the moment you have your final exam dates, or the moment you can register for your final exam dates, put your calendar down or whatever you're using as your calendar and look at it. Spread it out. I know some people like to do their stuff in 1 week, but we're talking here about quality, not quantity. So I like to spread it out, and I like to be realistic about how much or how long it will take me to study for something. Now, my longest study time was 1 week, which for some people is like, what? But I don't study morning till night, okay? I don't like wake up and I study. Like if I were to do this, my longest study time would be 2 days. But I like to live. I like to keep my routines. I like to do the same things that I do when I don't have my finals. So I like to go to the gym. I like to watch a TV show. I like to just, sometimes stay at home and watch TikTok for 3 hours. It's not about like changing your life right now to be all about finals. I like to mostly just put the finals in there, like sacrifice 2 to 3 hours per day to study, but that's maximum. Like my study a lot of times is just full of procrastination and me procrastinating, so it's not really about me looking and studying and like doing this one thing for the entire day. But my longest study period was 1 week, which was for the economics exam, because there was a lot of formulas and a lot of economic principles which I just had to have a long time to grasp. So I knew I'm gonna need a week to study for this. So I already spread it out so that I would be done with other finals in the meantime. I don't like to study for 2 finals at the same time. I feel like it just mixes too much. I used to do this a lot before, where I had one semester where I took on a crazy amount of credits and I just wanted to be done with everything really quickly, and it was me studying for 2 exams at the same time all the time. It was really bad. It was really hard. I was just mixing a lot of concepts. I had no idea if I'm like talking about this lecture or if I'm talking about a seminar or if I'm like, I had no idea where I was and I was just studying. My brain just wanted to explode, and I didn't want to see anything ever again. Sometimes you will have some compulsory courses that you need to take in order to finish your course, but many times you're gonna have your electives during your studies. When you choose your electives, I also like to be a little bit like have a system, be a little systematic about it, because I could choose just, like the electives that I'm interested in. Sometimes you just sacrifice something when choosing your electives. So do you want to sacrifice, having a good grade, or do you want to sacrifice having a lot of time, or do you want to sacrifice something being interesting? So I had electives which I loved them so much. They were my favorite, and they took a lot of time. They were free credit courses, which is not a lot. They took so much time for me to finish. I had to work every single week for multiple hours. It was really crazy. So then, for example, I have courses which I took which were not really my style. Like I don't know to this day why I took them, but they were really easy to pass. So it's all about like the balance. Like, where are you? Well, what kind of student are you? Do you really care about your grades? Well, then maybe you will have to sacrifice the content just so you can get good grades. Do you really care about what you're going to learn in those courses? Then maybe you can sacrifice your grades and you don't really care that the course is hard because you're there to learn. So it's very much about like, okay, what do you want to get out of the course and what kind of student you are. When it comes to being a student, it's not only about studying, it's not only about the university. A lot of people, when they become university students, they move away from home, and that's something I did. I'm also an international student, so I don't live with my parents. I currently live with my boyfriend, and we had to really learn how to live with each other. Not only are you gonna probably have a roommate, maybe your friend, maybe a random person, but you're gonna live abroad. You're gonna live maybe somewhere you're not familiar with, and you need to learn how to live alone. It might sound super easy. I thought, oh my god, but I'm so good at cooking, I'm so good at cleaning, I can do this. You have to realize you have to buy your own toilet paper. Like, it might sound like, okay, what? But no, when you start realizing how much money toilet papers cost, you're like, oh my god, I never want to use the toilet again. You have to really start budgeting. You really have to get used to the fact that you're not going to be alone, really. Like, I live with my boyfriend, but I have to sacrifice a lot of times. For example, I can't really watch my TikToks, out loud because he has an online lesson, or I have an online class, so he has to be quiet. We also have to budget a lot. When it comes to university, my first year, I gained so much weight because I was like, oh, I live alone. Great. Let me just order takeout. Let me just not go to the gym. Let me just, oh my god, they have chocolate on sale. I'm not gonna buy myself lunch. I'm gonna buy chocolate, and it became this cycle of me having this unhealthy food, and I had nobody to control me because I didn't think I need any control. So I just ate really unhealthily, and I gained so much weight. And I know so many people said they did as well, because the first time you leave your parents, you suddenly don't have the control over what you eat, about what you buy, and you get into this really bad place where you're just buying takeout because you can. So I also had to learn how to budget and how to really take care of my body. Cooking is something I really want to highlight. Budgeting money, especially abroad, can be really hard because you suddenly have to take care of your expenses. You need to pay for water, for rent, for food. You need to pay for your hobbies. You need to pay for maybe going out with your friends. And it can get really expensive really fast. What I do every single month or every single week is I create a budget Excel sheet where I put all of my spendings. I do it by month because I get my scholarship and my salary monthly. I put in all my spendings. I try to, predict like some things I know I'm gonna spend on. I'm gonna get my nails done. I'm gonna get my lashes done. So I already put them in there. I try to estimate about how much I'm gonna spend on the food, and I can see how much I can save, how much I can splurge, or I can spend more on the food, less on the food. So I can always see, because when you start just spending and beeping your Apple Pay everywhere you go, trust me, I spend so much money per month. I had no idea why I was spending this money. And now that I cook, this is really good. Cooking, it can save you so much money. I sometimes would pay for takeout. I would pay like 10 euros or 20 euros for takeout, for one takeout, which is crazy. But now I can buy, if you get chicken on sale, chicken curry is so cheap to make. It's not chicken curry that you would get in Southern and Eastern Asian restaurants. It's more about the chicken curry, like you put chicken, you put the curry, you put the vegetables, and it's so cheap to make. 3 to 5 portions costs me like 3 to 5 euros, which is amazing. 3 to 5 portions means that me and my boyfriend can eat this for 2 to 3 days, which is like, and then you only have a few more days in the week, and you can basically budget like 10 to 20 euros just for food per week. I don't think I can spend more than 25 euros per week when I cook. When we go out to restaurants, I can spend a lot of money. But when I cook, I can stay like at 25, 30 max. So budgeting and using student discounts, a must. I recently just discovered that we also have student discounts in Europe. I don't know why, I thought it's only a UK thing. So I tried using it and I'm saving so much money. Now lastly, this is something I also struggle with a lot. And it's to keep your routines while you're studying. So when you study and when you enter university, by the way, if you take shot every time I said university in this video, I think you're gonna be so drunk right now. When you enter university, you get into this whole new life, whole new system. You make new friends and your daily routines will change, which is normal. But I really recommend you to have 2 or 3 routines. For example, getting a coffee in the morning, stretching in the evening, watching your favorite TV show once per day. Something that is very familiar to you, and keep doing it. It will not only help you with transitioning from high school or different stage of life into university, but it will also help to keep the familiarity, and you will not be so crazed out by everything that's going on. Also, it's important to keep the routines, because the routines are something that can help you feel good. It's something, when you do it, you release endorphins. And I know that the first thing that I chose myself to not do when I entered university was working out, because I felt like I have no time. I would sacrifice a lot of time studying, sitting at my computer rather than just move. But now I know that I need to keep certain routines. The school is important, yes. I will not say it's not important, because I know that a lot of people will downplay how important a school is nowadays. School not only gives you, knowledge about the subjects you're studying, but it also builds you as a human. If you can do this outside of the school, outside of university, great for you. For a lot of people, university, it just means having routines and having a transition from being in your childhood to adulthood. You become independent from your family, you become independent from the teachers. So it's a very important part of people's lives, but it doesn't mean that your life now has to change completely. I wouldn't sacrifice a lot of things for university that I did before, because while it is important and while I do want to get good grades, and I'm here for the Good Grade People initiative, I don't think it's that serious that you have to sacrifice things you love, like working out or going on walks. What I really try to do, this is maybe gonna sound a little crazy, but every time I'm stressed out, or every time there is like something hard, a presentation, I'm nervous, I tell myself, everything we're doing right now is a main event concept. Like, we made it up. There was sometimes, like thousands of years ago, there was a person who didn't even know how to build a house or start a fire. And now we have universities. We all just made this up, okay? So every time you're gonna be stressed out, next time you're gonna have your final, just think about the fact that this whole thing is made up. Don't let it consume your life. University is about to be the biggest part of your life, but it's about having fun. It's about making friends. It's about enjoying it and learning something new. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any stories from university, please write them down below. I love reading stories from university. I myself have so many that I would just spend like 2-hour-long video just yapping about it. But if you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in another episode of the Glow Journal. Bye bye!